But what is real is the final boss. You gotta work towards
Yeah. That's too fundamental. It's too basic here. All right, what is a chair? I'm putting my laptop on top of a chair right now because I don't have a table in my apartment. The chair is one of those metal folding chairs you get like Home Depot for $10, right?
But we defined chairs already. It was what is it? Two platforms, not parallel, and as well as a third supporting structure that elevates it off the ground. All three pieces are contained in one continuous structure.
One continuous structure.
Right.
Huh. Okay.
If it's discontinuous, then you're taking it apart, and you're now building a chair.
Okay. So suppose there's a stool, right?
That's not a chair.
Yes, I know. But like, I hold a piece of board, so when you sit on there, you can lean against my board, right? And hence,
it's not continuous. It's not a continuous structure.
So that's not a chair.
Yes, that's not a chair.
But what if I connect that board via another beam to the ground? It's like a beam that goes up and there's a platform, right? Horizontal platform for you to sit on.
But still not one. But it's not one continuous structure. Now you have two structures.
Okay, so that is not a chair.
Oh, you have two. You have two structures.
But if I were to link these two structures together via a beam that's like going along the floor, that's fine.
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay.
Wait. Does the part that supports your back, can that part extend all the way to the ground?
Huh.
Like the chair has a specific look, right?
Yeah.
You get a door, right? And you decide to just tape a stool to the door. Is that considered a chair?
Shit, that's a good one. I was thinking, if you bolted a stool to the wall, does that count as a chair with just a really big back?
Yeah. Is that considered a chair? I don't think so.
So if the back part of the chair touches the ground, that's no longer a chair. That's just you bolted like something onto a bigger structure.
But then you have chairs like that beam, but that beam.
Yeah, there's some chairs in which the back is just one big board that touches the ground, and that also serves as like the back leg.
Yeah, so it's like yeah. That back leg is connected to the so the back so.
All right, I think we should continue this. All right, see ya.
All right,
and we're back.
What the heck is this?
I have presented you with a schematic. This is ground, the seat, the back, and legs. That is indeed a chair, right?
Yeah.
If we were to do this, move this up here.
Whoa, move it. What is this?
This is called this is a lesser known technology called Google Docs. Now, if I attach the back to the seat like such, is that still a chair?
No, it's not a chair. No, it's upside down.
Yeah, but orientation doesn't matter.
But that's a stool. There's no back support.
Well, the back is right here.
No. The orientation matters too. It's like the orientation matters too, relative to each other.
So there has to have like a chunk of the back that is above the seat for it to count as a chair.
No, I feel like it needs to have a back, right? Like there's a back now, and then it can move, but it needs to be relative to each other.
Oh yeah. By the way, my internet connection is absolute shit because I paid for the cheapest internet collection. So it's kind of going to be pretty laggy. Anyway, suppose we have these two, and then we move this up, and then we take the back and we stretch it so it touches the ground. Is that still a chair?
Yeah, I think that would be so considered a chair. Yeah.
Okay. But so how short does the back portion have to be for it not to be a chair? Is any amount of stick out acceptable?
I need to support your back. So like your lower back, I think. At least your lower back.
So what is this? We got two planes, any angle to each other, right? Are you seeing this?
Oh yeah.
Not parallel. Connected in a way such.
I feel like they can't be even negative quadrants, like the back, or I don't know. Like what is there's an what is this? No, there's probably an orientation to them, right? That they need to maintain.
So it's not any angle then.
Is an angle part of it?
Yeah, well, we originally settled with any angle.
I don't think that matters.
Well, Angle definitely does matter because I could do this, and then that will definitely be a bed. Like it won't be a chair anymore. It'll just be long, right?
But there are chairs that can do that.
Yes, but that's a good question. In this state, right? You know how some like gaming chairs, the back goes all the way back. You can lean all the way back. The PewDiePie chair can do that. You know that one, right?
Yeah, but they're true gamers.
Yeah, is that still a chair at this point?
I think at this state it's not a chair, it's no backrest.
But because you're horizontal, it's still touching your back, but you're not seated though. You're lying
Yeah,
down.
you're not lying. You're not lying down. You're not even seated position.
So in that case, like a dentist chair, you've been in a dentist chair, right? They kind of do this, right?
Yeah, they go up and down.
Yeah, yes, but like they're not completely flat. They're like slightly tilted, right? If I tilt it a little bit, that still counts, right? That still counts as a chair.
Yeah, that still counts. There's probably a margin where you go from sitting to laying down.
Okay, any angle to each other that's not parallel, connected in a way, they move in. Right?
I just googled definition. Oh no, that's not chair. That's chain. A separate seat for one person, apparently with a back. Okay, yes, backrest and foreleg. Okay, that's a bad definition. They're specifically saying forelegs.
Like how many seats? Okay.
Wait, what is an AI? Because there must be an A. It's AI definition.
AI definition.
Because they're defining it by what they define it by themselves, right? So it's not influenced by our brain.
The seat is suspended off of the ground significantly. The back must have a portion that sticks out above the seat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so even if the back is kind of like this, that still counts because there's a portion that sticks out above the seat, right? Even if it's like attached like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we have the question of how many people? Is it one person, as Google said?
I don't think it matters. Well, I think it's intended for one person.
For one person to sit. Because, like, a park bench has this geometry, except it's just long as hell. What about structural integrity?
What about it?
Does that play a factor?
I don't think so.
No?
Why would it? Does it need to?
Because if structural integrity doesn't matter, right? Can I have, like, a hologram chair?
That's still a chair.
A hologram of a chair still counts.
Yeah. Well, a chair is a piece of furniture, right? So do we need to define what a furniture is? I feel like a chair, like we can't just define chair on its own, right? It's like a chair is probably a subset of something and a superset of something.
Let's answer the holographic question. Hologram chair can be a chair, right?
Hologram chair is a chair.
Okay, so representations also count. Holograms, etc. Material does not matter. Does the shape of the seat matter?
Probably.
Does it have to be an oblong thing? So it does, right?
I mean, I guess it needs to be there. Like it needs to be you can sit on it, so it can't be like a triangle.
But if I turn like the seat and the back both into circles, right? Is like this a chair?
That's fine. Also, I'm gonna attach this. Someone has attempted to answer this question of what is a chair.
Yes. We already wasted 1 hour on this topic. We're gonna waste 2. All right, let's go. What does the big brains think? What does he say? What does he or she say? A chair is a type of seat.
This is from Wikipedia.
A chair is a type of seat. Its primary features are 2 pieces of a durable material. So for him, the hologram of a chair doesn't count as a chair because it has to be durable.
But I don't think that's correct.
Attached as back and seat to one another at 90 degrees or a slightly greater angle. But a slightly smaller angle doesn't work.
I suppose so, because then you can't lean back. It doesn't.
Yeah,
It's not
but
really
I can,
backrest
for
anymore.
example, if I do this, that's arguably still a chair.
I guess so. Well, I guess you just then we can maybe define it what a proper chair is.
Usually the four corners turn into four legs, or other parts of the seat attached to three legs, or to a shaft about which a four-arm turnstile can turn. Okay, so this guy's really specific about the legs of the chair.
Yes, he's trying to describe it.
But for us, I think it can be
But
some sort of support, as long as the thing is
yeah,
suspended off the ground. I can attach cables to the ceiling and it'll still count, right? Like a swing
yeah,
with a back on it counts as a chair, right?
yes. I would say so.
Strong enough to support the weight of a person who sits on the seat, usually wide and broad enough to hold the lower body from the buttocks almost to the knees, and leans against the vertical back, usually high and wide enough to support. All right, these usually is kind of
He adds a
funny.
lot of usually. He adds a lot
Yeah,
of usually.
because like, you've seen like these small chairs, right? That the legs are typically high enough for the seated person's thighs or knees to form a 90-degree or lesser angle. But usually, right, they're typically.
Mhm.
He's just describing chairness. He's describing patterns that we see
Yes,
here.
he's not trying to define it.
Because if the chair's really tall and your legs are kind of straight, that still counts. Used
Yes.
in a number of rooms in homes, in schools and offices, and various other workplaces. Chairs may be made out of wood, metal, or synthetic materials, and either the seat alone or the entire chair can be padded or upholstered.
Yeah, he describes. Yeah, he's describing. He's not defining a chair.
Yeah,
He's
he's
describing a
describing
chair.
what chairs that exist
This
out
is
in the
this is
world
yeah. This is
are.
a description of chair. All right, so this isn't very helpful.
But it's interesting because instead of two planes, it's two, what do we call them? Two objects?
What did he call it?
Two pieces of durable material. He once also didn't specify. It's
Okay,
just two
okay.
pieces of durable
Two pieces of
material.
material. Two pieces of material. I feel that's
Yes.
fine. They need to be tangent to each other, right? But the two pieces, but two objects need to be touching.
If I do this and I have like a support structure that goes like this, that also works, right?
Oh yes, yeah.
The
I
two
guess so.
pieces
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have to be touching,
Yeah, okay, yeah. They
but
don't
they
have
just
to
have
touch
to
it.
be connected in a way that they move in one unit.
But what do you mean by what does that mean? Like if you move it back, this also moves as well.
Yeah,
Like if you
moves as
move the
one unit
backs.
is like this. It doesn't matter. Yeah. What happens is that the back can be like over here, right? But if somehow via magic, right, you can make the thing move like this, right? The whole thing moves. That counts.
But what about if you have a full? What if you have like if the chairs? There's lots of chairs that can lean back, right? Just like a lever, you click and it leans and it leans
Mm.
back, right? So it does not move as a unit anymore. So I don't think we need that.
But if you try to move the whole thing, even when it's in a reclined position, the whole thing moves.
Like it's all one. This whole chair, but chair like all these objects are connected as all one unit.
Mm-hmm.
But like they can also move separately. They can from each other as long as they'll still like remain in the unit.
Fine, they can move as one unit, but also independently if needed. Right?
Yes, yeah, but they also when move independently, they're still part of that unit.
Yes, yeah. When it comes to the neither does seat and back geometry, we run into some interesting situations. If this is the back of the chair, and I kind of put the back, on top of the seat like that, right? You
They
can
kind of
argue
yeah,
that that is no longer a chair, that is still a stool.
yeah. But it must have a back. But back it exists for back support to support the back. So it is to support. If it supports the back, then it's considered a back.
Okay, neither seat and back geometry as long as the geometry does not.
I think we can define it better if we define it up here. Two
Okay.
objects, right? One purpose of a first object is to support the butt. The purpose of a second object is to support
Yeah, you
the
can.
back. But two objects together the purpose is to what? Is to maintain a seated position for the person.
I have a feeling that's only going to run into problems and down the line in which we try to define what indeed a seated position is.
Well, see, but that's different. That's a different problem. I mean, we could technically do that. We can just start with a definition of chair, and we just can like nitpick all the words within that definition to find everything.
we recreate the entire redefine every object in the universe off of our definition of a chair.
Yes.
We start the Descartes start from I think, therefore I am. We start from a chair.
A chair. Universe starts with a chair. One intended to support but be off the ground. Off the ground. Well, is it off the ground, or is off the ground necessary?
But then I can remove the legs and put it on the ground.
But that's is that the
right? Like we could.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay, yeah. It doesn't necessarily need a leg. It just needs to be supported off the ground.
Yeah, it just needs to be covered. This could be covering for all I care.
Yeah, so this also covers for the leg part. So the need to be supported off the ground. It can be. It doesn't really matter how it's supported off the ground, as long as it's supported off the ground. So we don't need to mention the legs at all.
This statement isn't needed. The back must have a portion that sticks out above the seat. I think that works.
I don't think we need that either. As long as it supports the back. But
you know how like sometimes when you know how sometimes like you lean back and you hang off the edge of your couch, right? Your head's like over here and your body's like over here and your back is just kind of bent over. I could say that the chair in this case does support your back.
Oh, okay. So it's not in a seated position. We need to add that in. Okay.
In a seated position.
Where do we add that? We can add it like.
Add it right there.
Intent for one person to sit. Yeah,
I
think we need that.
Clarifying statement.
We don't need the angle stuff anymore.
Right. This is our definition. These are our clarifying statements.
Oh, no. What do you mean that's like clarifying statements? And these are all rules, right?
Yeah. This is our general gist. These are our specific rules.
Okay, fine. I mean, the first one could be a rule as well. All right, like we ask the question: is it a chair? We look at the first statement. Is there two objects? Right. Doesn't need to be two objects, right? We see their chair that's like you've seen stone chairs, right? That just continue like bench chairs.
One object. Yes.
Yeah, one object. So we don't. It's not two objects. It's just an object, one or more objects.
Yes, one or more objects intended to support the butt off the ground and to support the back in a seated position, right?
Yeah.
And then this is intended for one person. Representation also counts. Material doesn't matter.
Yes.
Okay, so now we'll take 1 minute to try to poke holes in it. And if we can't poke any holes in it with 1 minute, I think we can carry on.
Yeah, 1 minute is all we need. This is true PhD. We are now peer reviewing our own definition.
After all, remember, our requirement for definition is merely a thing that works good enough for our small brains. You know what I mean? We're not asking for universal level shit here. This is just things that we can convince ourselves that this is indeed true. All right, 1 minute.
It's intended for one person, right? But I think something wrong with that statement. Because you've seen big chairs, right? Like those old big Chinese chairs, like when the emperor sits on. Those are huge.
Yes, but only the emperor was supposed to be sitting on.
Yeah, but if a chair of that size could fit multiple persons.
Yes, but the creator of the emperor's throne only made it for his ass.
It was intended for one person.
The intention was for the emperor and the emperor. Even though
intended for one person. Yeah, but I'm not talking about specifically emperor chair. I'm just talking about a chair that's of that size. If we have a big chair, like what's the difference between a couch and a chair?
You're talking about you mean those Chinese like curved wooden chairs?
Any big chair. That was just an example. Any really big chair. It doesn't have to be intended for one person, right?
Yeah, but how do we distinguish that from like a park bench?
A bench is long.
Yeah, but it's intended for more people. The way you make a chair seat more people is to make it long.
Okay, I guess it's okay. Yes, it's intended for one person, but it's up to the. up to the sitter.
Let's add that. Actual usage may vary.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how you use it. People can use a chair as a stool.
Yeah,
or as
because
like
there was a world's largest chair. The largest rocking chair is like 9 meters wide.
So the only real
This is the
difference
world's
between
largest rocking chair. As you can tell, this thing is absolutely massive, but it's still a chair, right? That's still arguably a chair.
yes,
Even though you could sit like 400 people in it. But is this intended for one person to sit, though?
I don't think so.
Did the artist even intend for anyone to sit on that?
A person of big
No one's ass is 9 meters wide. The artist didn't intend for anyone to sit on that.
Hold on, wait, hold on. A chair. What's the difference between a chair and a bench? What's it called? What is bench in Chinese? I don't think there's a word bench in Chinese,
Bench
right?
is
It's just
板凳,
changyizi.
板凳.
Okay,
凳子
I
is
guess.
stool, right? 椅子 is chair. 板凳 is like board stool, which is long stool.
Aren't those usually associated with ones with no back?
Yes.
Okay, I
But
guess
then
so.
again, in Chinese it's easy because anything that has a back is considered 椅子. Even the park bench, we call them 椅子, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, but back to the world's largest chair. Wait, no, world's largest chair can count as a representation of a chair.
It still qualifies. It still qualifies as a chair.
Yeah,
It still follows all the rules. It
yeah,
doesn't break
but it
any
was never
rules.
intended to be seated upon.
It could be intended to seated upon by a person of that size.
No one in the world will ever become that big. So this was intended to be seated upon.
No.
Right?
I mean, it could be intended for someone that big to sit in.
Yeah, but no one would be.
No one can realistically be that big.
So it still fits under the intended for one person to sit on.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that.
I feel it's the intention. It doesn't matter if the intention is realistic or not.
Yeah, but did the artist intend for anyone to sit on it?
I don't know. That's the artist. We don't know what artists think about. Some of them, sometimes we don't. Artists don't know what they're thinking about.
Okay. And plus, size counts under seat and back geometry anyway. Now let's take another minute, see if we can poke any holes in it. This is peer review round 2. I have one. So once again, we have the chair, and then I have, on purpose, put a large fire upon the seat. No one is intended to sit on that. But it's still a chair, isn't it?
Yes, it's now fire on. Well, fire is not built into the chair.
I will build the fire into the chair. I will add
you
nozzles that shoot fire out of the chair.
That's still a chair. It's
But
now a
no
chair
one
with
was
that.
intended to sit on it.
That doesn't matter. I don't think that matters. It's made to be sat on. Maybe,
But it wasn't.
you
It's
can
on
sit on
fire.
it.
It wasn't made to be sit on.
Would you still call this a chair? This entire component here a chair, or would you call it a chair on fire, or a burning chair, or a flame chair? Is the fire a necessary? We just call it a chair. It doesn't really matter whether it's like a plastic chair or
Okay,
wooden
fine.
chair.
In
It's
this
just a
case, the
chair.
fire and the chair are different things. They just happen to be placed on top of each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I don't feel fire isn't a required component of a chair.
So anything that's not these required components counts as a chair with an attachment, right?
Yeah, it's now it's become an adjective to a chair, and
Okay.
an adjective we can just remove that
That
adjective.
works. That works.
What do you just they're like just like natural just like weathering stuff, right? You see like holes and like just stuff forming in the mountains, right, or rocks, right? That can serve as chairs.
What do you mean,
like in a museum or whatever? You get a chair built into the wall of like a cliff.
Like what was it? Like once the back of the chair is the mountain.
No,
Can you pull up a picture because I'm having trouble.
I don't have a picture. I'm just trying to think. You see, you've been to museums, right? Like you see museums have chairs like carved out of like a tree.
Yeah, chairs that. Yeah. A chair that's carved out of a rock is fine.
Okay. Or like built into the mountain.
Chairs built in. I've never heard of that one.
or like built into like a giant boulder or something.
Okay, so you mean so the back is like a boulder and the seat just kind of sticks out.
Yeah, so the seat is still attached to it's still like attached to a boulder.
Yeah, so if I made this back just like really big, right, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Huh.
Also, does the chair need to be no, I was gonna ask, does the chair need to be concealed? Like,
What do you mean by concealed?
as in like you can your arms and I was gonna like armrest, but like when does it need an arm? Like the armrest conceals the size of a chair, right? Like there's like with them,
Like it constrains the size of the chair?
yeah, it constrains the size of a chair, but I guess we not
No, the size
we
isn't
not.
constrained in our case.
Is it?
Okay, so in this case, right?
Like what's the
Hmm?
difference between a chair and a bench? Our definition. How does a bench break our definition?
A
Or
bench
does it
breaks our
break?
definition because it's intended for more people to sit on. It's
Okay.
long. Okay, back to your question. Suppose this thing is a big boulder, and there's like a natural rock outcropping that looks like this, and you can sit upon it, placing your butt right here and your back up against the boulder. Is that a chair?
I think that'd still be considered a chair.
As a corollary, what if instead of a boulder, I have merely bolted like a wooden plank? You know, for example, this is a wooden plank, and then I have merely screwed it to the wall. This is the wall. It's like a shelf, except rather short.
Yeah,
Does that count as a chair?
I think so. Because if that is not considered a chair, then uh, like does the back need to be of relative size to the seat? Does it need to be?
I think if we set a restraint for like the ratio between back and a seat, some guy could just come in. You know how like rich people have those chairs with huge backs, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, they could just come in with that argument.
I guess.
So if I bolted a plank to the wall, it counts as a chair.
Suppose. I don't know. Something's wrong
How
with
does that distinguish it?
something doesn't feel right about that.
Mostly because I think
Does
of like bookshelf when this happens. I think of shelf, right?
yes.
But a shelf, I think it's a matter of intention. A shelf is meant to store objects, not for people to sit upon.
Yes, and I guess we don't see a lot. Like we don't. Do we?
Do we what?
Do we don't really see we don't see a lot of just like a single seat screwed to a wall.
Yes, but like if I were to do that, I think it's intention. Shelf is meant to store objects, not for people to sit on. Well, this hypothetical chair
intention is a big. So
is meant
intention is
for
a big
people to sit
component.
on. Sure, it's very
Yes.
arbitrary because they can, the physical shit, the physical makeup could be identical, but the will of the creator is the difference. That's kind of a weird definition.
Yes.
That's a weakness because once the person who made this thing dies, it will now once again become arbitrary.
No, even if that doesn't. No. Even if you die, it doesn't matter. It's still it's what the intention of that thing is to be sat on.
Yeah, but that's kind of like an
Does
English teacher arguing about. That's kind of
does
like
a chair need to be mobile? Hold on. Does the chair need to be mobile?
a chair can be
No.
mobile. It also doesn't have to be.
It does have to be mobile. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, can it be made mobile though? You might have a natural chair made out of like a rock.
Yeah.
It can be made mobile, right? By like just chipping away the
Yeah, it
back.
can if I carve it out of the boulder, yes. Or
Yes.
I, via a huge amount of strength, just shove the whole boulder.
Yeah. It can be made mobile. Is that a required rule?
Well, very few things are unmovable. Just about everything can be moved, given a drastic enough course of action.
And everything can be moved, but it's immobile though.
What the fuck is...
Like, can it be moved around easily?
But what is
or
easily,
or
man?
like relative ease. Like what's different than mobile? Like when you think something's mobile, it's like it can be carried around, right?
So in that case, if I were to like bolt a regular ordinary chair to
That
the
wouldn't
floor,
work.
it wouldn't count. So it doesn't matter. Mobility
No, no,
shouldn't
no, no,
matter.
no. If you bolt the chair to the floor, it would work because you can always unbolt it, and the chair will still be there. You can move it around.
Well, well, the same way, like I could, like fucking chisel the thing out of that would be destroying it though.
What about we don't call the chairs, well, the seats in a car chairs.
We call those seats because it's part of the car.
It's because it's attached directly to the car.
Yeah, but it's not welded. It's once again bolted. So by your
Yes, but
definition,
it's
we should
not.
call those chairs.
But so they should be. By our definition, it should be considered a chair. There's two chairs in the front of a car.
Funny enough,
But
like
that's
you
not.
say
But
that
we
the
don't call it that.
seat in the car, we call those seats. But if I were
Yes.
to remove the seat from my car, take like
Yeah.
a folding chair from IKEA, attach it to the car via bolting, the same way that the car's seat was attached to the car's frame, you wouldn't call that a seat. It'd still be a chair from IKEA that I just bolted to the fucking car.
So it's because it's a car. It's a seat intended for a car. That we don't call it a chair.
I think because
It has
the seat.
it has all the components of a chair.
It does have a bit. If you take the seat out of a car,
It's still a car seat.
it doesn't become a
Right,
chair, does it?
I don't know.
I don't know, does it?
I mean, more like a couch.
Because I was thinking, like, perhaps the chair has to be its own entity. It can't be part of a larger entity. Like, the car's seat is part of the larger entity of the car.
I think we should add that because like a chair and carved into a mountain, we don't call that a chair. We just call it a seat.
Yes.
Right? We wouldn't call that a mountain. We wouldn't really call it a chair. And it'd be its own entity. But what defines an own entity? A rock. A chair not made out of rock. That's an own entity, right? But a chair made out carved into a mountain. That's not its own entity. We wouldn't consider that its own entity. It would consider part of a mountain.
Right.
But when we consider its own entity if the seated position, there's a seating area is large. Is a dominant area of like the entire unit.
I don't think it's based on area. I think it's a chair is considered a seat in a car is it's considered part of the car because it's like attached to the car. That doesn't work.
But then what's attached though? Like you have a boulder, right? You have a boulder and a chair and a seat and a seat like, built into a boulder. Is that a chair? Or is that a boulder with a seat in it?
If a boulder has a cutout that allows you to sit upon it, is that just a boulder with a seat cutout? In that case, I think because the boulder is the dominant entity in this case, it would be a boulder with a seat attribute instead of a seat with a boulder because the boulder's physically larger.
I think the chair needs to be mobile.
The chair has to be movable?
I think so. Yeah, I think a chair needs to be mobile. Like if you have a seat built, if you have a chair built into a wall.
But the problem is that the seats in a car are quite mobile because I could drive the car.
No, but the car is mobile. The seats aren't mobile.
I can adjust the seats via the seat adjusting.
No, I said like you can't just take it out and just like walk away with it.
Well, I can. That's how people steal car seats.
You gotta unscrew it. You gotta unscrew it. So it's not mobile until it's unscrewed.
Okay, fine, but what if I, via smart technology, attach the seat to the car using magnets, and then when the seat detects that I am trying to pick it up, the magnets detach, and I could just pick up and go?
We don't have those yet.
Yeah, but I can easily make that, right? It's just a big electromagnet fucking bolted to a chair. Right, like, I could have the seat of the car.
I think it needs to be free. I think it needs to be freely moving.
Free to move.
Like what do we consider a chair? We wouldn't consider like we walk into a cave and there's a seat in the walls in the cave wall. We wouldn't call that.
We call that there's a seat over there. Yes.
Yeah, we wouldn't call that a chair.
because it's part of the larger cave system.
Yeah. Yes. So
In
I feel
that
like
case,
it
it's
need to
quite.
be its own. It need to be an own entity. If it's an own entity, which means it can be. Well, yeah, it needs to be its own separate entity from its environment.
It needs to be its own separate entity within its environment.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
then we come with the argument of, so suppose there's an outcropping in a cave that looks like a seat, right? Looks like a seat, right? We call that a seat, right?
Yeah.
But if I were to take like a chisel and like chisel out that section and remove it from the cave, now because it's its own entity, we could call that a chair.
I think so.
But by that logic, the seats in a car, as soon as I take them out of the cars, become chairs now. The same way I
suppose,
have
yeah.
chiseled the
I
rock
think
thing out of the cave.
I guess.
Perhaps. Okay, in that case, you know what? That kind of makes sense because, like, you see, like, bad Facebook Marketplace ads. They're like some dude who made a couch by just fucking taking a seat out of a car, and,
Yeah.
and it counts as a chair. Okay, so once I free the entity from the chair from its larger entity, okay, that makes sense. So same
Does it
thing
need to
with
be
the
mobile?
wall.
Does it need to be? Does it need to be mobile? I feel like a chair needs to be mobile.
I think you were right about the entity
I think
part.
that's the definition between a chair and a couch. Like I said, a single person couch. A couch isn't very mobile.
Yeah, but that's just
It weighs
dependent on
like
how
50.
strong
Weighs
one
like
person
50
is,
pounds.
and we can't define
No, but
things based on.
just a general, there's a range of how strong people are.
Yes,
You can't just if you
but
keep like
whatchamacallit? We can't make it based on how easy it's to move because, for example, like we didn't specify material.
yeah, but I don't know,
I can
like
have a
there's a lot of stuff,
hologram of a
there's a lot of
couch,
stuff
and
that qualify that meet these rules but aren't considered chairs, like couch. This one.
it's intended for one person to sit. Ah, there's a single person couch. Shit.
Yeah, they're single person couches.
Are
And like
single
what do
person
other
couches just really comfortable chairs?
No, we call them couches.
Fuck.
We don't call them chairs.
Haran, pull up the definition of couch.
Wait, hold on. Couch or hold on, wait. The couch, the couch has cushions that are detachable from a couch. Right? A chair does not have. There's no portion of a chair can be detached from itself.
Yes, but for example, my inflatable couch, all of the
Yeah.
cushions are undetachable. Well, you cannot remove them without like cutting them off. You know what I mean?
I feel like the difference between a couch and a chair is mobility. Like you can move a chair from one room to another room to one space to another space. You can't really do that with a couch. Or like a couch is not like that's not what. Yeah, you can't just do that with a couch.
Yeah, but if I can create a origami couch that is about the size of a shoe, is just as easy to move as an origami chair that's also the size of a shoe. We didn't limit geometry nor material. Yeah, what is a Let me search up couch.
That breaks our definition. Single
Yeah.
couches break our definition.
A couch is Wikipedia coming in with some interesting definitions here, Ron. Let me paste it onto this one. Yeah. All right, because I'm gonna replace it with the definition of a couch. So a couch is a piece of furniture sitting 2 or 3 people. Wikipedia says couch only works if 2 or 3 people.
Well, that's totally not true because they're single person couches.
Shit. Yeah, what is that single person couch? Oh, interesting.
Well, couches have sides.
When I searched up single person couch, the first suggestion that Google gave me is single person couch name. And if the website someone posted the question, what do you call a couch for one person?
Yep.
And then the answer is an armchair.
Is it a subset of chairs?
But it's like not all chairs with arms are called armchairs. But a single person couch is indeed called an armchair.
That is very true.
But it is a chair.
So therefore, it's not a couch. It's actually a chair.
We fucking did it.
It is still holds true. So just
Yeah, the intended for what armchairs are a subsect of chairs. They just look like couches because they're
it
really
look like
cushiony.
couch. So it is meant for one person. So that's therefore
That
it's
part
still a
holds.
chair.
Alright,
Okay, our definition.
back to the its
Still
own
true.
entity
Still good.
situation, right? If you have
Yes.
it has to be its own to put this into the shelf and wall thing. Oh, this is the wall. This is like a piece of wood sticking out of it. That's not a chair. But if I were to like cut out the section of the wall and now it's its own entity, that would be a chair.
I think so.
Now let's add another clarifying statement. What was it? The chair needs to be its own entity, not attached to a
Not part of its environment.
not attached to a larger object. If so, then it's called a seat. Okay, let's have another minute to see if we can poke any more holes in this thing. This is peer review round 2. All right, we've edited the definition slightly. All right, the minute starts now.
1 minute later.
Is a toilet considered a chair?
In this case, the specific toilet that we are referring to, the official term is seating toilet, as opposed to a squatting toilet.
Yeah.
So it's a toilet with an attribute.
Is it?
Yeah, the seating toilet it's a categorized under toilets, except you can sit in.
Are you sure? Like, what's the definition of toilet?
It is toilet first, sitting second. A sitting toilet does indeed fit our definition.
That's true, and we don't call that a chair.
Okay,
Wait, hold on. Hold on. That does break our definition. It's not its own unit. It's attached to a floor.
And because of that attachment, it's not a chair.
Yes,
However,
I think so.
if I remove the toilet from the sewage system and just place it upon the floor, now it's a chair.
That's also what that used to be a toilet, or that is a toilet shape.
Yeah, and also I think people usually sit on chairs to sit. People sit on toilets to shit.
Yes.
The intention is not to sit on there.
No, I googled the definition of toilet. It has a pretty decent job. It's like it's a fixed object in which it's meant for urination or defecation.
The sitting helps with the shitting, but the shitting is the main intention.
Alright, so toilet does not break our
Yes.
definition. Yes.
That makes sense. That is good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so that was round 3 here.
Yeah, the main function of a chair is to be sat on in an upright position.
Yeah. Sit upright. Right. So, consequently, if I were to take a chair and cut a hole in the seat and place it above, a big hole in the ground, that chair now becomes a toilet.
I suppose so.
Because its main purpose is now to poop.
Yes.
I can live with that. That's fair. Can I poke any more holes in this thing? Or is this thing pretty waterproof here?
Why are toilets made out of material? Like, why are they made out of ceramic? What is that material? That ceramic
Porcelain?
material. Porcelain. Yeah. Why are
they're
toilets
made out of
porcelain?
porcelain because ceramics have you can glaze the ceramics, and that's why your toilet is super smooth.
Yeah, but why is it still made out of ceramic? That's like something that's like ancient.
Yes,
Nothing is
because
made out of ceramic
it's very
anymore.
difficult to get any other. A toilet has to. We're on a side tangent. A toilet has to, number one, resist corrosion, right, from all the stuff you're throwing into it, right?
Well, yeah, well, water and stuff.
Number two, be sturdy enough that you can sit in that shit. So the resisting to corrosion rules out most metals.
Why can't it be plastic?
Because I think plastic is soft. If you can easily scratch it and stuff. And it needs to be smooth so that stuff doesn't get caught in it and start to grow. It needs to be really smooth so you can wash. It can be rinsed out to keep clean. And also,
is there no better solution? I feel like has toilets ever evolved?
Toilets have gone
the base itself. I'm not talking about the internal flushing mechanism and all that stuff, but the base itself. The fact that it's made out of porcelain, it seems like something that's from the 1600s.
Yeah, but also porcelain's the cheapest thing. You're literally making a toilet out of dirt. It's so much easier than with plastic and all that.
I guess that's true.
And plus, the glaze is the most important part, because if you glaze it, it becomes really hard. And if it becomes really hard, it's scratch resistant, and because it's scratch resistant, things don't get collecting onto it. And you can use, like, aggressive metal brushes to brush that shit, and it won't break, and it won't, like, scratch. The problem with metal is that you can glaze your metal with a layer of ceramic, but the metal expands and contracts much more than the ceramic does. Eventually, it chips off. Same thing with plastic. Although, metal toilets do exist. I think that's
But
why it's...
back to chairs.
Yeah.
Back to chairs. So are we done?
I can't. I don't think I can poke a hole into this.
Yeah, I think we're done. So
I
we
think
have now come up with a definition of
this is
chair.
waterproof right here.
Yes, totally waterproof. This is we are now scientists. We have done peer reviews.
We are philosophers. We have logicked out what is a chair. Definition. Alright, and we'll turn this question mark and delete it.
Fantastic.
Good work. How long were we recording?
Like an hour.
An hour and 12 minutes, right? It took 2 hours for us to figure out what a chair is, and goddamn, does it feel amazing. We fucking did it, Herman. We did it. We know one thing in the universe now.
A chair.
This is our platform. Literally our platform on which to build stuff on. Herman, the truth. I've seen the truth. Is this what religious folk feel like when they finally find God?